You might think the Iliad is the story of the Trojan War, but it's not. The war is just the backdrop for something much more intimate, much more brutal. It's a deep dive into a single emotion: rage. It's about how the wounded pride of one man can spiral into a force of nature, powerful enough to bring an entire army to its knees, and what it finally takes to bring that man back to himself. And this is the man at the center of it all, Achilles, the greatest warrior of his age. This vow he makes, it's the engine that drives the entire epic. And here's what's so chilling. It's not a promise made against the enemy. It's a curse hurled at his own commander in a moment of cold fury. This is where personal honor declares war on collective duty, kicking off a tragedy that will nearly destroy them all.
So, what on earth could make a hero, the best of the best, turn his back on his friends in the middle of a war? Well, the answer isn't about swords and shields. It's about egos, and about what honor really meant in the ancient world.
At first glance, it looks like an argument over a captured woman, Briseis. But she's just a symbol. The real fight is a clash between two kinds of power. On one side, you have Agamemnon, the king, whose power comes from his title. But on the other, you have Achilles, who lives and breathes by a different code: time, personal honor. It's the public, visible proof of his greatness. So when Agamemnon takes Briseis from him, he isn't just taking a prize. He's publicly declaring that Achilles is worthless. And that right there, that's the whole story. For a man whose entire identity is built on being the best, this isn't just an insult, it's an existential threat. It erases who he is. So Achilles makes a cold, hard calculation. He'll walk away. He'll sit back and let the Greek army get torn apart just to prove one thing: without him, they are nothing. He will prove his value through their absolute destruction. Well, Achilles gets his wish, but the price for proving his point is paid in the blood of men who once called him a friend. His absence rips a hole in the Greek battle line, and the consequences are immediate, and they are catastrophic. You can see it unfold like a terrible set of dominoes. First, Achilles pulls out. Almost immediately, the Greek lines start to crumble. The Trojans, led by their great hero Hector, push them all the way back to their ships. It's a complete disaster. In a panic, the Greek leaders try to buy him back. They offer him unimaginable wealth. But his pride can't be bought. He refuses. And that refusal leads directly to the one thing that could break him. His best friend, Patroclus, goes to fight in his place and is killed. The news of Patroclus's death shatters Achilles completely. That cold, calculated rage he was nursing, it's gone. It's replaced by a monstrous, all-consuming fire. The man who removed himself from the world is about to return to it as an unstoppable force of nature. See, that first rage was all about strategy. It was a choice. It was designed to prove a point. He put up a wall, sat behind it, and watched his friends suffer just to validate his own importance. It was all about him. But this is something else entirely. It's not strategic, it's primal. This is a grief so total, the only way it can express itself is through annihilation. He doesn't care about honor anymore. He doesn't care about glory. He just wants to destroy the man who caused his pain, and he's more than willing to burn the entire world down to get to him. And here, Homer gives us this moment of staggering irony. His new armor, forged by a god, isn't covered in scenes of battle. His shield shows a world at peace, fields being plowed, people harvesting crops, a wedding, a city where disputes are settled with words, not swords. It's a perfect image of everything humans build together, a world of order and life. And it's forged for a man who is now singularly focused on death. And you see just how far he's gone when he finally confronts Hector. Hector is defeated, and he begs Achilles for the most sacred right of any warrior, to have his body returned to his family. And Achilles says this. He throws out every code, every custom, every shred of shared humanity. In this moment, he's not a hero anymore. He's become the monster his grief made him. After the storm has passed, after Hector is dead and his body has been defiled, the entire rhythm of the poem changes. The real climax of the Iliad isn't another battle. It's a quiet, impossibly courageous act that finally breaks the cycle of revenge. Just try to imagine the sheer terror of this. Priam, the old king of Troy, walks right into the heart of the enemy camp to face the man who killed his sons. He doesn't enter as a king demanding anything. He comes as a father, begging.
And then he does the unthinkable. He kneels and he kisses the very hands that murdered his child. And this is the genius of his plea. Priam doesn't talk about honor or the gods. He makes it personal. He says, "Remember your own father." He forces Achilles to imagine his dad, Peleus, waiting back home, knowing his own son is never coming back from this war. He appeals to a universal human truth. And just like that, the rage breaks. For the first time, Achilles sees his own pain in his enemy. He doesn't see a rival king. He sees a grieving father. He lifts Priam to his feet. And the two of them, the killer and the father of the killed, they weep together. They weep for Hector. They weep for Patroclus. Their shared sorrow achieves what no army or treasure ever could. It gives Achilles his humanity back. So why are we still talking about this story 3,000 years later? What makes it stick with us? Well, it's because the Iliad was never really about a war between Greeks and Trojans. It's about a conflict that happens inside every single one of us. The story has lasted because it gives us these really clear, powerful ways to think about our own lives. It shows us that unchecked rage will always consume the person who carries it. It teaches us that any victory you win without compassion is ultimately empty. And maybe most importantly, that shared grief, the ability to see your own pain in someone else, can build a bridge across any divide. And here's the most telling detail of all. The Iliad never actually shows us the fall of Troy. The famous Trojan horse, it's not even in the poem. Homer knew that the burning of a city was never the real story. The story was always about the breaking and the rebuilding of one man's soul. Ultimately, the Iliad holds up a mirror. It asks you to look at the cost of your own anger, the price of your own pride. It makes you ask if winning the fight is worth losing a piece of yourself. Because true strength isn't in the rage that walls us off, but in the empathy that connects us all.